Okay, who here hasn't been to space? Why? You better not throw up on my ship.
Approaching jump in 3, 2, 1.
What's up and what's going on, everyone, and welcome back to my YouTube channel where we discuss all things movies, TV, streaming, hot topics, and more. And a hot topic that we've kind of all been waiting on. I mean, for at least on this channel, we haven't discussed it. They did talk about something a few months ago, but we've all been waiting for Paramount Studios to announce something about Avatar: The Last Airbender. Ever since they took over, I believe it was in 2019, 2020, we haven't heard anything, but we finally got some news earlier this year in 2022, and we've got some news even at SDCC. And it was the announcement that they are going to be doing a live action. Well, we don't know if it's going to be live action, we don't know if it's going to be animated, but they are going to be doing a story that's going to be furthering Aang's gang, the gang of with Aang that we all grew up with, but they're going to be young adults in this. We had heard prior to this announcement that the first Avatar film was going to be the Avatar Kyoshi film. Then we had heard that they were going to do that in 2023, that we were going to get a Zuko film in 2024, and we were going to get I believe it was Korra film in 2025. So that's changed a little bit. But you see this, growing up an Avatar fan, Trey, what do you think?
So first and foremost, this is animated. They did confirm it, even says it's the focus, the new animated film. Yes. So my thoughts on this are very torn, because the problem with a movie is a movie has to have the standard things of a movie, conflict, rising action, you know, they have to do a lot. They have to make a bad guy, what's the point of this movie, resolution, things like that, right? And for those of us that have followed the comic books...
they've addressed that, though, but finish. They've addressed the comics, but go ahead and finish.
But, okay, so what's really amazing about this is the entirety of The Last Airbender happens in a very short period of time. You know, our characters are 11 to 15 years old, right? They don't have a lot of personal growth comparatively to the rest of their lives, right? And what's really crazy, too, is after the 100-Year War, when the Fire Nation is put to rest, then becomes the real struggle in the series, which is dealing with... I mean, one good example I can give you, which is the foundation of New Republic City you see in Korra, is the Fire Nation colonized for 100 years. Prince Zuko, or now King Zuko, Emperor Zuko, agrees Fire Nation will pull out of the Earth Nation territories, but some of these places, people have been living there for 100 years. There are generations there, right? The next war between the Avatar and Zuko is over Zuko not willing to pull his people back from the city that now become... You know, it's stuff like that, right? It is seeing the Southern Restoration movement go on in the Southern Water Tribe and Katara being against it. Because she's like, this is messing with our heritage. But Sokka being like, you were never even alive then. You don't know what it was really like. They come to heads a lot on... Sokka's a non-bender. You see the pro-bender movement. You see, I mean, there's a lot of prejudice that goes between different benders in society and their roles, and it plays a heavy part in shaping Aang and shaping the gang. So I wonder where this will take place, what part of it, but I would prefer a series, is what I'm getting at here. A long-winded way of saying it. There's so much more that happens with this group.
And see, as a deep fan, and I'm a deep fan too, I've read the books and the comics just as, you know, as like all the other fans and things like that, but the creators over at Paramount Studios have addressed that, and they have already said that they are going to let the comics be the comics, they're going to let the books be the books, and that's not going to intertwine with what they are now trying to do with the gang. So this is going to be something all new. It's not going to be something, I know that all of us fans that are, you know, read the books, you know, even with Zuko's story, we were all assuming that maybe Zuko's movie might tie into him looking for his mother and finding his mother like in the comics. It's not going to happen, I don't think. I think they're doing their own thing here.
Right.
Now, how good that's going to be, I'm not sure. I'm hesitant. Well, I'm not hesitant because the original creators from the show are involved.
But what does involved mean?
That's a good question. I believe they are helping create everything. I believe they have heavy involvement. That's one of the reasons that they left I believe that's one of the reasons they left the Netflix live action series, was because it was not the direction that they were wanting it to go.
Right.
So they pulled out. Now, on to the Netflix live action series really quickly. It ain't looking bad. If you would have told... Now, at the very beginning there, when they were announcing some of... Like, when they first showed us Sokka, Aang, Katara, I was like, yeah.
In the casting?
Yeah, I was like, I don't know. Yeah. But as we started seeing things behind the scenes and things like that, it looks cool. But Paramount Studios is completely separate from what Netflix is doing.
Well, see, and this is an interesting subject to bring up in general, because, you know, a lot of things, you know, we're going to talk about are adaptations, right? I mean, hell, Marvel, the most common thing we talk about is purely adaptations. It's always dangerous when you have someone who's like, hey, this is the story that's really successful, or the video game that's really successful, or the comic book series that is highly, highly successful, has a loving fan base. Who are they marketing the new series to? They're marketing it to the fans of the series, right? Mm-hmm. So they're going to say, we're going to take your IP, we're going to take the thing that you love, but then we're going to do something different. Obviously, it's going to have opposition to it, and I'm wondering who you're marketing it to. I will use the Resident Evil Netflix series as a perfect example. What the fuck was that? What did I watch? I don't understand it, because it had... I mean, you teased us with the name Wesker throughout the entire movie. You changed up everything about him. It didn't mesh, but it has the title Resident Evil. You're using these IPs, and, you know, as a diehard fan of this series, one of the craziest things I want to see is an older Aang. Aang is, it is due to pressures, but he is not a great father to his first two children.
No.
Until Tenzin is born... I mean, but he's faced with the burden of having to birth an airbender and having to rebuild the airbending nation. Yes. And just seeing those conflicts, because they're so real, they're so flushed out, and the story is so well done. To be like, we're going to let them do... Yeah. It messed with me, because anytime you say, we're going to change it up entirely, I'm like, what the fuck are we in for now? Now, with the creators being involved, that's exciting to me, but now I need to watch closely as to what they're exactly going to do.
Well, Julian, you grew up too on Avatar: The Last Airbender. What are your thoughts when you see that, you know, the gang is back and we're going to see them as young adults? It's going to be an all new adventure. You know, creators involved. So
once again, I obviously, yes, I did grow up with the Avatar. Love the show, love the series, love the story. I'm excited for this. Like I like new things. Once again, like I said, I slack when it comes to reading the comics and books. I'm not gonna lie to you, I didn't even know they had comics and books with this series.
Yeah.
So, but I'm excited for it to see where this gang leads them. And I think I watched the first season of Legends of Korra, and I thought I liked the story with that and how she, the Earthbender, became up. What is it? She discovered iron. Was it iron bending?
Oh, you're talking about metal bending.
Metal bending. When she discovered metal bending and everything. And I'm excited for this group to see where it leads them. And I remember I love watching the South Water Tribes, how they end up becoming, not saying a powerful nation, but end up blossoming into a much more successful area in the world. And so yeah, I'm glad to see where this will lead them.
Yeah, it looks like it's going to be a good.
What is where the streaming going? Is it on Nickelodeon or is it
going to be on Paramount Plus? Paramount Plus. Everything Nick is on Paramount. Okay. Now this is what got me excited because I'm a villain person. If this, I've said this all the time. People can call me crazy, call me whatever. If this stuff was real, I'd be a villain. If Star Wars was real, I'd be a Sith. If superheroes were real, I'd be a villain. I wouldn't.
Friends, I'll be the complete opposite.
I would not be a superhero. I'd be a villain. If I was in the ATLA universe, I would have wanted to be right there with Azula because she was a fantastic villain. A fantastic villain, man. She was sadistic. But not just that. Azula's backstory. You have to understand the trauma that she went through as a child. Not thinking that even though her mother did love her, she never felt that. She never felt that was. She always felt her mother loved Zuko more. So she never, you know.
Well, see, and a thing that I thought about Azula that I really loved, and this goes into why Avatar is so good. It is the subtle nuance of character development they really pay attention to. So Azula, the Fire Nation would have won. If she wanted them to win. The problem is she realizes no matter how much she's done, she took the city of Ba Sing Se.
Oh yeah.
She took the city. No one's been able to do that, right? And she didn't even. Here's the funny thing. Let me have a nerd moment here. She didn't even wasn't told to take the city.
Right.
She was there to get the Avatar, and she's like, "Oh, in the meantime, I'm also just gonna take over the most protected Earth capital in the fucking world. Let me just do this real quick." She is insanely powerful, insanely cunning and manipulative. But she found out that no matter what she did, her father still wanted Zuko on the throne after him. She would never receive the kingdom. She would never receive what she wanted from her father, and it demotivated her. You know, there was the whole, she was like, if I decide, you know, and it broke her down. So it is an interesting concept of, well, where does that character go from there then? Because Zuko frees her. She does not stay in prison. I mean, the next time, I think within 2 years, she only stays in prison for like 1.5 years, and then she's out. But it's interesting to see where will she go from there. Will she see the? Because it wasn't like she wasn't like Zuko. She wasn't like, oh my god, the things I've done are so terrible, I have to change. She instead was just like, motherfucker, you still don't want. It was different, and it played into her mother not wanting her in her mind, and now her father. She is always the second to Zuko. So it's amazing.
She's always the second in general. Even her friends, Ty Lee and May, picked her second to, Ty Lee picking May and May picking Zuko. In that, that episode, Ty Lee didn't want May to get knocked out by Azula, so she took Azula out while May took out Azula to not get to Zuko. So yeah, she's always second. And that just gets to Azula. It gets to her core, and like you've said, everything that you just said there, it's...
Right, but what's crazy is all of her motivations and everything she does is to impress and to be the first, and to May and Ty Lee. It's
always to impress.
It is. I have to be the Regina George, basically, right? Then to her dad, it's I'm overtaking shit that our uncle could never do. And she's a lightning bender at that age. Are you kidding me? Blue fire?
Yeah.
The first time she showed up, started shooting blue flames, dude.
Like I said, she was the best villain. I mean, they did. That's the thing about Avatar: The Last Airbender in general. The ATLA does such a good job from season 1 to the final episode. It is a complete show. There's no gaps. There's no questions. It's a complete show, and I can say, growing up, I want to say probably the only complete show, one of the only complete cartoons we ever got growing up.
Right.
I mean, because there's so many there's so many other cartoons like, Justice League Unlimited or Justice League. Those things we never got those finished.
Shout out Code Lyoko for anyone that was a part of that.
There's a lot, and like I said, I'm excited for Avatar because I grew up on Avatar. It was one of my favorite shows, man.
Well, and I just want to see more. I mean, because the creators have always had cool ideas. They talked about having the twin soul, the twin Earthbenders being the Avatar.
Yeah. But then, I remember that.
They've talked about a lot of different things that they can do with this series, and they've fleshed out so many of the in-between stories, and there's so much they know their world well, and I would love to see them get the opportunity to explore it. Right?
And it's a timeless show. You remember in 2020 when they put Avatar on Netflix, people that hadn't seen it were watching it. I remember people on Facebook were saying, my kid or my son or whatever got me into this, and it's actually a really good show. John Campea, during the pandemic, started watching Avatar: The Last Airbender. It was like, oh my gosh. There were people that hadn't grown up on it that... Right. Understandably, it's timeless.
Yeah.
10 years from now, you can bring that baby back out, and it's timeless.
Bro, I'm telling you, I could be walking down the street and just hear someone go, "Secret tunnel," and I'm like, motherfucker.
Or like with COVID, you had the memes going around of people sharing Judy from Bossing say, "There's no COVID here."
There's no war in Bossing.
Yeah, that's just it's timeless.
Well,
it's timeless.
I will say this last thing about it. It's very interesting to me that so Avatar: The Last Airbender came out and Legend of Korra followed suit. Both of them, while being great animation stories in their own right, were also still slightly marketed to a younger audience, right? That's why I'm saying I love to, on the topic of this, see an older Avatar gang, because...
You can dive into more.
But not only that, but so much.
I don't want to say that either.
Like the reason you have Korra's big thing is the Bender arenas, right? Mm-hmm. Do you know why that started? Sokka started them. Sokka started them because there was so much tension building between Benders and non-Benders. He built this and said it's the only place Benders can truly come and show off and be praised and be. You know what I'm saying? It alleviated some of that. You have to downgrade a group in society, right? And it's openly talked about how the establishment started and all this and that. No kid wants to watch its deposition, right?
Right.
But I loved that. I'm like, oh, dude, they're breaking down. Like, Aang originally thought every nation needed to be separate. You need to be separate, equal, balance, harmony. And then Katara's like, you're air nomad, I'm water nation. Should we be together?
Right.
And it's like little things like that where it's like, tell me more, guys. And I think them exploring these more adult themes, I think it'd pay off. I think it'd get more people interested in the series than there already is. And everyone who loved the series growing up is an adult now. We're ready for it.
And that too, that's why I wanted to take back something I just said there. Because, it's not as if I guess you could say season 1 of Avatar is a little kiddie, but it's still good. But once you hit 2 and 3, man,
it's like once the Blue Spirit shows up.
Yeah,
it's on and
it gets real. It gets real. Like I just remember the finale. I remember going home. I was in middle school by that time, but I remember going home. Yeah, and watching. I remember it was in parts. Mm-hmm. That was, and I remember waiting till the next Friday for the next part. I was like, "Holy shit!"
Well, even as a kid, I remember when it was Toph is falling, and Sokka grabs. I'm like, could they die? Are they gonna die? What are they gonna do?
Like my thing was when the Fire Lord had Aang up against the wall, and he was, had him in. He was in the ball, and he's just sitting there, and he's talking to Aang, and I'm like, I'm thinking to myself, Aang, you have to kill him. That's the only way. But then when Aang, that's what I'm saying. It was so good as a child, as a middle schooler. I was on the edge of my seat for an animation show. You know what I'm saying? That's the power, the grab that Avatar has, and just to give it even more praise, it still has the same effect in 2020. It had new viewers on the edge of their seats, like, holy shit, I gotta go to the next episode.
Not only that, but I'm someone who grew up on Toonami. I'm someone who grew up on Saturday night Adult Swim, right? Yu Yu Hakusho changed my life. I'm very, to this day, I got fucking goddamn 5 One Piece tattoos. I'm an anime freak, right? It's different. After The Last Airbender, it's Western. You can tell it's Western with Eastern influence. Right. But you're right, where like the first season when it first came out, it was your next Danny Phantom. It was it's goofy and and kind of funny and silly, and Zuko's dealing with these penguins running around trying to get to the the little kids throwing the balls at the Fire Nation soldiers and whatnot. Right. It looked like G-rated Samurai Jack. Mm-hmm. And then it really got into itself, and it was like, this is different. This is great. Crazy.
It was great. Like I said, I love Avatar. We all love Avatar. Loved it. This seems like it's going to be exciting. We're going to be here, covering all of that news. So as always, question is for you guys listening down below, what you guys think. What are you guys thinking of ATLA, the announcements for it, and how it being changed from the Kyoshi movie that was going to be happening now to the Aang gang going to be taking over on their own movie. And then we're possibly still going to be seeing that Zuko movie, going to be seeing that Korra movie, and possibly even going to be seeing a Azula movie, or maybe moving forward something more different with Azula. To move on a little bit away from the Paramount Studios, remember Netflix is still doing their live action version, so let us know down below what you guys think of both projects. What are you looking forward to? Are you nervous for an Aang gang? Are you nervous for Netflix's live action coming off the heels of the original live action movie that was shit? So let us know down below in the comments what you guys think. Like, subscribe, share with your friends. We'll see you guys in the next video.